Hello everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful, happy Advent. Since I keep telling everybody, even as it gets busy, we're supposed to try to stay slow. So I thought I'd change the place of filming and be relaxed on the couch. But it hasn't been relaxing. First of all, I'm sure most of you heard the sad news. Father Brian Bell, the previous pastor, passed away yesterday, Wednesday, about 5 p.m. Over in, West Side. And he had been in Mexico, staying with friends down there, and he was brought back up here. He went to see a doctor. The doctor there said there's nothing we can do for him, brought back up here, and he was in the hospital and passed away there peacefully. It was a good experience, a hard experience. Nancy and Cheryl from our office were there with myself, and then three very close friends of his that are in Mexico. And so he had people around him, people he knew, and we don't know details yet on funeral, but those will be coming to you shortly. I've been at a lot of Christmas gatherings, which is kind of unusual for me. I don't usually do that much, but especially during Advent. But one of the things, the parties I've been to have been like at least 90% St. Bernard's parishioners. And one of the things that seems to come up a lot to me is, what's going on in the rectory? What's going on in the rectory? Are we going to do the rectory? When are we going to do the rectory? You know, all of those questions. I wish I had answers for all of them, but I do have some, and I want to walk you through some of that. First of all, one of the things that we've talked about, and some of you know that, but Scottsdale is one of the hardest cities to get through, and we are through. We've got all the approvals we need from Scottsdale, and we're ready to pull permits to start. That's really, really important, because we are at that point now where we can start. We have one more meeting with the diocese, and that has to do with the building committee that deals with finances of the new buildings. And so I want to update you on how we're doing on the finances. I've already asked that we get that meeting scheduled, so hopefully it will be in the next couple of weeks. First of all, to update you, we had to pause, or we decided to pause the whole project because of COVID, because it was hard to get meetings going. Everything was very uncertain, and to meet with some of you in terms of fundraising was difficult. And so, but as we paused it, as you know, we hit this economic time when prices start increasing, and then we had to deal with that, and are still dealing with that, working on that. But I want you to know that we started again in the fall, building committee meeting, the capital campaign committee meeting. We've been working in the fall, and Father Simon and I have been meeting with some families already, talking about their gift. I can tell you that we have received 9 significant gifts since we started this fall. Some of them are significantly increasing their former pledge, and others are new pledges. And so we are doing much better. In fact, and we still have more meetings. Father Simon and I have more to schedule. I can tell you that we found out at the meeting today that there's a woman who's relatively new to the parish that has asked one of the staff members, what's going on with the rectory? And when he explained what was going on, she said, well, put me in touch with them. I want to make a significant donation. Comes to us, asking. So that's good news. And right now, in terms of pledges and cash, we're a third of the way to where we need to be to build. Or not just to start, but a third of the way of the cost, the expected cost. So I also wanted to tell you, and it's an interesting thing. I had lunch today with one of the young priests, and we talked a little. It's also been talked about at the finance meeting, and Father Fred brought it up at a diocesan meeting. The fact that a number of our young priests are frustrated because they can't live in. They want to live in a community. They want community support among priests, and so. Some of them are forming covenants and groups, and either trying to live together, or have some kind of constant togetherness. And that's important because our rectory will provide the opportunity for at least some of that for some priests, and maybe that would include some priests in neighboring parishes or something to gather socially periodically. It also would provide, and that's what we've planned on, is a place for retired priests. We don't have a lot of places for retired priests. You keep hearing on news how rents are going. We have guys out there paying rent, huge amounts of rent, which is not good on our retirement. The good news is, I just received notice that on our retirement fund, they just gave us a $2 increase. Now, that's $2 per year served as a priest on every check. So it is a nice increase. It'll be very nice, and I appreciate it a great deal. But it sure isn't going to help a whole lot in terms of what's going on with paying rent. And so, very, very important that we understand, and you've heard us talk this before, and Father Simon and I talk it all the time. Families live with their parish. They live with their family. We are the spiritual fathers of this parish family. It's not a corporation. It is, but that's not the way we look at it. It's a family. It's a community. And we gather a lot, but it's hard for us to be there all the time because we live separately. So please, my brothers and sisters, it is very important we get this done. This is the way Catholic priests live. There was a time not too long ago when guys were beginning to talk about, well, nobody lives where they work, Well, this isn't just a job, It's a lifestyle, like family. So my brothers and sisters, it really is important that we get this together. I was especially struck yesterday. Father Brian was brought up here, and nobody knew what his plans were. So the only information they had was, well, if anything goes wrong with Father Brian, call Nancy. Well, Nancy had some basic knowledge, but nothing legal and official. And luckily, we have that at the diocese, but we were having trouble getting hold of the right people at the diocese. And who did he want contacted, and how did he want this? Even now, planning for his funeral, what does he want? These are the things that a family knows. We know it at the Chancery, and so we will be able to follow his wishes. But yesterday at the hospital, when we couldn't find out what his legal wishes were, it was a very difficult time for us, the 6 of us that were there, to make some decisions. And because especially the other 5, excluding myself, I know Father Brian, I know him well, but not like the other 5. And so they were really able to come to really strong conclusions about what Father Brian wanted. But it shows you, though, Father Brian wasn't living in a family community, but he was looking for that. He was looking for that down in Mexico, with friends that he'd had for years down there, and yet had to be brought back up here. My brothers and sisters, we belong here. We belong here in community. And that's really what I want for the future priests here, for this community to continue to grow and thrive. Thriving communities have the priest in their midst. And that's something, not just Sundays, but all days and every day that you want it. My brothers and sisters, we are going to get the rectory done. We are getting very close to pulling permits, which means breaking ground. So we're getting very close. And you'll continue to hear more and more. We will continue to update you more and more. And eventually we will begin coming in and asking everyone to be part of this great project to finish our parish plant, to finish our parish house, the rooms for our priests. Thank you. God bless you. And please have a very merry and safe Christmas. God bless you all.